Immortality by Claire Harner. Do not stand by my grave and weep. I am not there. I do not sleep. I am the thousand winds that blow. I am the diamond glints in snow. I am the sunlight on ripened grain. I am the gentle autumn rain. As you awake with morning's hush, I am the swift, upflinging rush of quiet birds in circling flight. I am the day transcending night. Do not stand by my grave and cry. I am not there. I did not die.
Hi, I'm Desiree.
And I'm Mariah.
We're two sisters with a love of storytelling
and the paranormal. And you're listening to
As the Crow Flies. Hello.
Hello, everybody.
Welcome back. Sorry, we are a little late. As I mentioned in my Facebook post, life is chaos with two kids and spring sports, and so we're out here surviving.
Yeah. We also, me and I feel like saying littles is like not accurate because Gabe is bigger than me. But we had an impromptu hike through the woods on Saturday, and so the day just got away from us in the best way.
Yes.
And we were so tired when we got home.
Yeah, we also finally have sunshine in Vermont, and it really started this weekend. So it was just like a lot of soaking up every second of sunshine that we could because, I saw one meme that put it a really funny way where it said, New Englanders on the first 65-degree and sunny day standing outside photosynthesizing with their Dunks iced coffee in hand. And I was like, that is so true.
Oh, but I didn't get a coffee.
I did get a coffee.
You rat. Oh, there were so many like motorcycles out though, and just like people and faces. And I joke all the time, like not even just with family anymore, but like with coworkers, that when the first sun comes out, I'm just like a little lizard basking in the sun and like taking in all of the warmth. And I just want to go lay on my rock and enjoy the sky.
Yeah, I joke with everyone in my office that I must have been a cat in a past life because I just want to curl up in a ball in the little sliver of sun coming in off of the window. So much so that I moved my desk this year so that I could have one of the sunny windows in our office.
Oh my god.
And I was grateful that everyone agreed to that. And so the sun will come out and I'll just go, all right, guys, it's time for my nap.
I wonder though, like if when you asked about it, they're just like, yeah, I mean, whatever. And then as the sun comes out, they're like, oh, that looks so nice though. Like,
Yep.
I wish I had put up more of a fuss about it.
Yeah, yeah. And I tell them, like, anytime I'm not here, the sun's out, come sit at my desk.
Just clean up your crumbs if you eat over here.
Yeah. But Mariah and I also realized, like, as the weather gets nicer and we've got more stuff going on, that Sunday releases just aren't necessarily feasible for us anymore. We, in Vermont, we get very few, it feels like very few really nice days, and we want to be able to enjoy as much of that time as we can and spend that time doing impromptu hikes with our family or going to sporting events or things like that. So we're going to push our releases back to Mondays. So we will still stick with the bi-weekly releases, but it will just happen on Mondays instead of Sundays, just to give ourselves an extra day of grace.
And for everyone who's stuck around these last couple of episodes, thank you for enduring the unintentional soft launch of that Monday push. I have been like working down to the wire to try to get the episode out at like 11:59 on Sunday evening, and like of course, and then later than that into Monday morning, early in the hours. So that was not the plan. Thank you for anyone who's hung around and been patient and like, where's the episode? And then, catch it the next day. We're making it official. We have accepted not defeat, but reality that mom life is gonna happen. Kids and us want to enjoy the sun and the activity while we can. And we hope you guys get out and enjoy it too.
Yes, yes. And this episode is going to be a later than Monday release because like when I tell you my life was crazy this weekend, I had 3 birthday parties in one day to go
Nope.
to. So crazy. So yes, doing the best we can, and thank you for hanging in there with us. So we are kind of rewinding in time a little bit this week, and we're going to
Yeah.
be reflecting on our time at the Witches Brews Witchy Women's Social.
Yes, that was so much fun. Um, it was the. Did Amy say it was the first
Yeah.
Witchy Women's Social that she's hosted? And
Hmm.
so we got to take a lot of time learning about our own setup and how to do this podcasting thing
Yeah.
IRL. So that was very fun, and it's also just such a like positive, beautiful environment to like be in and to surround yourself in, like not
Hmm.
just the location, but the people that come to these events. Um, it's just always so nice to interact with everybody and to see the light and the joy that everybody's getting from these events. And so other than just hanging out with my sister, which is always fun, I really enjoyed the evening.
Not to mention the mocktails were delicious. And
Yes.
you guys, they had edible glitter. I got the rose quartz drink. Here's a picture of the drink.
And I got the amethyst, right?
Yeah. It had a sugar rim, it had edible glitter. It literally looked like a rose quartz in a drink. And it was
Hmm.
so good.
Yes. And the amethyst too. It had like muddled blueberry and I forget what else was in there. I remember sucking it up the straw. Yeah, I love all the fruit. I'll put like frozen fruit into wine to chill it, and so like I like munching on fruit when with my drinks. But
Oh.
so I remember there was blueberry, and of course
Yeah.
the like edible glitter syrup that was in there was so good, and it looked like you were sipping on a potion. It felt witchy if you just had that like vibe.
Yeah.
Um, And so like not only
Mhm.
did they look cool, they were just so yummy to drink also.
Yes. And I treated myself to a beautiful monstera plant from Judd's Plants. And so I have been wanting a monstera plant for like ever, and we kept walking past it, and I was like, okay, I need this plant in my life. It's so pretty. And so for those of you who are familiar with our area, Judd's Plant is now where Spates Florist was in Newport. And they're working hard on restoring the building and bringing that gorgeous space back to life. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that. I was really bummed because on the same day that I had 3 birthday parties to go to, she did she did an event where there was like a plant swap and kids could go and get a free sunflower starter kit and things like that. So I was really sad that we had to miss that, but hopefully if she does more of those events, we will make it to those. We also had delicious food from the flaky crust.
Oh, from the flaky crust. I said the tasty crust. Both are true.
Oh, the tasting center. Yeah. Yeah. So, Mariah, you had a really interesting eggplant croissant thing.
Yes, it was I think it technically listed as a scone and it was a chicken eggplant. I don't remember.
Curry.
Curry, yes. And oh my gosh, that was so good. It reminded me of like an empanada, and
Yeah.
I on its own was wonderful, but then with the jerk sauce that you had from your wings, that
Mm.
it just was like perfect. I ate the rest of it when I got home because I was so full, but like I didn't want to throw it away. It was that good.
And I got the little the cream cheese puffs with like the jalapeno. Was it jalapeno?
I think it was just like a pepper jam. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Those were really good. They were super sweet. It honestly tasted like crab rangoon filling almost inside of the puff
Hmm.
pastry. And then I also got jerk chicken wings with the sauce that you were mentioning, and
Oh,
oh, there was so much flavor. It was really good.
yes. And it was cool to I had never like been back there to the flaky crust, and so it was like cool to meet the owners and just and I know like get our tentacles further into the community.
Yes, definitely. And so one of the really cool things that happened as we were wrapping up for the evening, we went over to say thank you to Amy, and she happened to be talking with some of the vendors and some of the guests that were leaving. Um, and they joked because one person had entered a raffle like at the last second.
Mhm.
And Amy's like, I mixed everything up and I still pulled out your name. And the person that they were with was like, how did you win this? Like, I put my name into more things than you. And as they were talking about that, one of the vendors, Esme, she does bone casting readings, and she happened to be coming up and she goes, you know, that is so interesting because, and she said, when the bones fell, when she did that individual's readings, she read to them based on what the bones said that they were going to soon be the recipient of something. She had no
Mhm.
idea that it was going to be that immediate and at that event, but just a really cool, validating experience
Mhm.
that you know, what the bones predicted was going to happen was literally happening, moments later.
Right. Like, hey, watch this, guys. The bones as they're
Yeah. Yeah.
as
So
they're
it was
falling.
really, really interesting.
Mhm. That would be cool. Like, of course, all of this. I would love to have like a bone casting reading, to have like a past life regression,
Oh,
and
yeah,
that
for sure.
aura photo. I don't know if they did. I don't think they did past life regressions while we were there, but they also had
No.
aura photos being taken, which looked really cool. Just like the entire spiritual, like metaphysical world is so interesting and so enticing to dive
Yes.
into. Before I guess we move into the rest of the episode tonight, I wanted to share one other like happening at the Witchy Women Social. So it was a little quieter in our area, but right at the end, we were approached by this woman, Connie, who I just wanted to mention was
Yes.
such a sweet lady. She was just curious and asked us to hear part of one of our episodes to see like what we were about, and was like familiar with Baba Yaga, and that ended up being the episode that we played, not realizing that she had any knowledge of Baba Yaga before then or anything,
Yeah.
and it was just so fun talking to her and kind of seeing a live reaction really of her listening to an episode of ours. I also like didn't want to like look at her and make her feel pressured to react, but I didn't know where else to look. And so I hope, if she is here listening one day, she didn't think I was a total like social weirdo. I was just trying to give her some space. But it was a really, really nice interaction to kind of round out the night. And I'm
Ye-
so glad she stopped by.
Yes, it was just so genuine.
Hmm.
And just in conversation with her, she was so interested in the things that we had to talk about and share. She was familiar with Dyatlov Pass,
Oh, yes,
and
I
she was
forgot.
like, and Connie, I hope that you listened to our episode on Betty and Barney Hill, because that was
Hmm.
something that you are unfamiliar with. And so it would be interesting to hear how you react now knowing that story and hearing our retelling of it.
Yes.
So Connie, we hope you're listening. And thank you so much for just being so kind, and coming and visiting us.
Yeah, just being like willing to check out something new. She also mentioned the Bennington Triangle, which is something we're going to
Yes.
check out soon.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind.
Oh, yes, because that came up when I mentioned Betty and Barney Hill. She asked if there was a
Hmm.
triangle there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Everything just kind of tendrils into the next and the next, and it was just very fun. So, for the rest of our episode, we wanted to share a few more stories of kind of people in our lives that we're friends with, that we are acquaintances with, just, people that we've
Family with.
come across. Yeah, family with, people that we've lived with, and all of that. Some of their own stories of experiences in their lives, and you know actual encounters, not just somebody has written in, but we know these people and the subjects, if you will, of
Yeah.
these stories, and so um, that's what we're here to share today.
Yes.
So I will start with Amy. Everybody's heard us talking about her. She is the person who hosted the Witchy Women's Social, and does all of these other events through her shop and throughout Newport and like this area.
Hmm.
And while we were chatting with her, kind of getting our area set up and walking around during the event that evening, she shared one of her own stories with us. So she shared that in the tasting center, the building where her store is located, they actually have resident spirits of their own, which was very surprising. And so she did first warn us that there is a negative, like darker presence or spirits. I'm not sure if there were multiple or if it's just an overall
Feeling.
bad
Yeah.
aura that lingers in the basement and then towards the far back of the building, past the flaky crust and stuff even.
Hmm.
Uh, and so she told us she does not go back there intentionally. She seeks out other people in the building and stuff to help
Yeah.
her when stuff needs to happen, taking out trash or going through the basement. Totally do not blame her for that, because
Nope,
if I
not
didn't
at
have
all.
to interact with something like that, I would avoid it at all
Yep.
costs.
And
Um,
this is what the stairs look like. And
yes, thank you
so
for taking that picture.
I don't blame her for avoiding that, because it looks like the creepy entrance to an abandoned subway, except for it's
Hmm.
just a creepy entrance to the unused underground portion of a building in Newport, Vermont.
Yeah. um, yeah. So that was pretty interesting to hear, and very glad to know that she has not had any encounters with that being or beings. But in the actual like storefront area that she has her items for sale, she has experienced a few other spirits. The first would actually be at the top of those stairs. So she doesn't go down, but the stairs kind of lead right up into her shop area.
Mhm.
And she, right around that area, has the feeling of a young man, a younger man entity
Mhm.
who hangs out by the stairs. That's kind of his, you know, comfort zone. And she mentioned that maybe more of like a neutral, if not necessarily positive presence. He just kind of
Is
is.
there. Yeah.
He's there. But if there's a lot of activity in the center, or if there's a lot of kind of movement or things kind of being shuffled around and rearranged, she gets more of like a cranky kind of cantankerous feeling from him. Um, but she has begun kind of prepping him and like just helping him feel involved or aware of things that are going to be going on, and has noted a lot less activity and a lot less like stress feeling
It
from
was
him.
it was really cool too because I remember her saying, and it kind of validates. So if you listened to our "We Are Who We Are" episode, we talked about like those matriarchal figures in our family sharing the same message with us. And so Amy was like, "Yeah, when I feel like he's getting like too ornery, I
Hmm.
just reclaim my space and tell him." I am doing this. This is happening. I'm sorry that it upsets you, but I can't be dealing with this negativity right now.
Yeah.
And he seems
Yeah.
to respect that.
It's funny. I feel like I do something similar with my kids. Like, Jackson had a bit of a rough time with like transitions and stuff. And I mean, even I can just like, if something is sprung on me, I'm like, "Ugh."
Mhm.
um, but so to just give that prep of like, hey, so this is going to be happening, or like in the next day or so, in the next hour, blah, blah, blah. Um, and it can just kind of take that like surprise and like shock out of the system. And so part of me feels like that might be what's happening there. And it's
Yeah.
just, give me a heads up and like, okay, I'll go deal with it my own way, but I won't be a pain about it.
Right.
So there is that entity. And then Amy shared with us a few other occurrences that she feels are coming from some more playful, like childlike spirits in her shop. And so she, I believe, once had a ball kind of like rolled across the floor of her shop out of nowhere. There was nobody else there, like nothing to have caused this to move, like a strong gust or anything. Um, she's like far enough in the building that I don't think like the door opening and stuff even
Right.
would uh, affect her area like that. And so she's had the ball rolled across her floor, and one of the displays in her shop is these like aprons and pot holders. And the aprons on display, she will see almost as if somebody's like running their hand, or kind of like, in my mind it's like a cat kind of like
Yeah.
playing with tassels of the aprons. And so she just kind of sees these little like sparks of life and activity throughout the shop. And she hasn't yet caught either of these entities, so like these children or the young man at the stairs, on her shop camera, but she feels them pretty regularly, and she can see them interacting with her shop and with the items and their environment. And so I thought that was really fun. And the like the apron specifically
Yeah.
reminded me of the first time that we went together, me, you, and Audrey, for
Yes.
the psychic and holistic fair. And we were just about to leave, and the aprons are kind of like right at the entrance exit area of her shop.
Mhm.
And Audrey just started doing the same, like playing and like batting the aprons and tassels, and she was just like enamored and so like excited to see and play with the aprons of like,
She was like, "Mom, can I please get an apron?" I'm like, "Audrey, these
yes,
aprons are bigger than you. Like you don't need an apron."
and you're not like a baking
Yeah.
kitcheny little girl, like it was just such a funny thing for a kid to be excited about, and I don't know if it was, like, the prints are so fun,
Yeah.
and they're just, like, so soft and comfortable, and so it was just, like, it gave a little bit of, like, life to the story that Amy was telling us of, like, I can see those children entities kind of doing the same thing that Audrey was doing, and so it was just such a funny connection to make, um, with the, like, spirit and then real life side of things.
Yes. Yeah. And so that is a really great segue into our next story that we have to share for you. So I just want to give a quick trigger warning. This story does kind of briefly mention a really sensitive pregnancy, infant loss topic. Um, so if you're sensitive to that, please skip forward maybe 5 minutes or so. Just skip forward a little bit if that's something you don't want to hear. But it is quickly mentioned, and then the focus of the story is a little bit more wholesome. So just be forewarned about that. So this story comes from our listener and personal friend, Crystal. And Crystal was expecting twins. So Crystal was expecting twins, and unexpectedly and really tragically, when Crystal reached about 26 weeks gestation, she learned that one of her twins, whose name was Gracie, did not survive.
Mhm.
And so 2 weeks later, at 28 weeks gestational, Crystal delivered both babies. And again, only her daughter, who she calls Letty was the only surviving twin. And so the story that Crystal shared with us is this. So this is Crystal's words. She says, a couple of months ago, I was driving with Letty over the heights in the snow, and it was snowing quite hard. And so I added this piece in because if you're from the Northeast Kingdom, you know the heights. But if you're
Yeah.
not, which we do have some listeners who are not familiar with this part of the country or maybe the world, because we do have some international listeners. So the heights are a stretch of interstate on Interstate 91 that goes through Sheffield, Vermont, and it's the highest point of elevation on the entire Interstate 91. So Sheffield Heights also notoriously just does its own thing with weather, and so it can
Mhm.
be like not snowing at all in Barton or in Lyndonville, which are on opposite sides. Barton is north of the Heights. Lyndonville is directly south of the Heights. And so it can be fine there, and then you get on the heights and the roads are shitty. It's
Yep.
snowing, it's icy. Like we had one incident this spring, tractor trailers were not chained up to go up the heights like they might normally be, but it was
Like
doing its
chains on
own.
their tires.
Yes,
For anyone
sorry.
who's not familiar.
Yeah. My husband's a truck driver, so that's a familiar term to me, but yes, I apologize. So they didn't have chains on their tires because the road in its entirety wasn't bad, but then they ended up Sheffield Heights ended up being impassable. So
Mhm.
anyways, it's just a really sketchy part of the interstate, and like you always just buckle up and hunker down to get over that part of the interstate because it's
Yep.
never great.
I remember when before I moved back to Texas and brought Nate with me, it was a legitimate concern when looking for jobs. Did I want to be driving back and forth over Sheffield Heights in the winter? Was it safe for me to do that? Um,
Mhm.
Ended up taking the job and didn't go off the road ever, thankfully, but there
Yeah.
were sketchy nights. And it is like a major interstate. And so I was behind, tractor trailers and it's relatively busy for a Vermont
Mhm.
road. So
Yeah.
uh, pretty sketchy.
Yes. So Crystal was driving over the heights, and it was snowing hard, and so as Crystal was driving, she noticed that in so she has which Also, sorry, another side tangent. They have so much more cool things now for babies than
Mhm.
they had even when I had my kids 7 years ago. I'm like,
Yeah.
"What?" So Crystal has this fancy little doodad that is a camera. We had those mirrors that would burn holes in the kids' car seats, like,
Oh, I never got a
and
hole in the car seat. I just had, like, the plastic mirror that
oh,
it just looked constantly foggy.
yeah, yes.
So, that was fun.
So Crystal has an actual camera and it allows her and then she has the monitor like on her dash so she can see what her baby's doing.
Mhm.
And she raves about this and there's not a lag. It's like immediate. She can see what Letty's doing and gives her really good peace of mind. And
Yeah,
so
imagine.
this night as she's driving for the first and only time her camera started to glitch and it had like vertical lines going up and down on her
Mhm.
monitor. And when it came back on, kind of out of the glitch, there was a circle of light floating near Letty's foot. So,
Oh.
like an orb of light after
Mhm.
the camera malfunctioned by her surviving twin's foot. And there was no other cars, so it wasn't a glare in the lens of the camera. And it was dark out, so it wasn't the sun or anything like that. And there's no street lights.
Yeah,
It's on the interstate. It's dark. And the floating light was not there before the camera started to malfunction.
yeah. Oh my gosh.
And the camera did the vertical lines again and came
Mhm.
back, and the orb was not there anymore. I have goosebumps.
What? Yeah.
Yeah. And that happened 3 times total
Oh
from
my gosh.
starting the heights in Lindenville, just after Lindenville, and exiting in Barton. And the orb
Wow.
would appear only after the glitch for a couple of seconds, and then it would glitch again and it would disappear. And um, it has never done this since that night.
Right.
And so Crystal,
Goodness.
and this is oh, I just got whole body
Yeah.
chills again. Um, Crystal feels like it was her daughter Gracie protecting her and Letty and kind of making sure that they made it home safely on a night where there was not great driving conditions.
Yeah.
So little Gracie was looking out for her mom and Letty.
Aw, and probably comforting her, just,
Yeah.
like, "You're not alone." And,
Right.
oh, that is so sweet.
Yeah,
And
or keeping Letty distracted so that
yeah,
Crystal wouldn't get distracted while she was driving.
right.
Yeah.
And you would think, like, when you hear stories like that, a lot of people, ourselves included, will initially think about, like, debunking, like you said.
Mhm.
Has it happened since? Is it something that just, like, frequently occurs and maybe it's an issue with the camera? But for it to have been a single evening and,
Yeah.
just through that stretch where it is really scary, and with the elevation, like, yeah, you're going up, but then you have to consider you are
Mhm.
coming down, and it's never in Vermont, there's never a straight path. Everything's
No.
windy and curvy, and you go where the mountains and the rivers and the trees want you to go. And so
Yes.
you're holding your breath for a lot of those drives.
Mhm.
That
Especially coming right down on the Barton exit. It's steep and
Yeah,
you
and
don't have
into the exit.
yeah, and you don't have a lot of stretch of time to slow down. So it's like you have to be strategic about how you come onto your
Mhm.
brakes at all right there. There's been times where the roads have been so bad, I was like, I'll see ya in Orleans.
Yeah.
I'm not getting off here.
Yeah, but it's like you don't wanna risk those things, and
Mhm.
to just have such, like, a heartwarming moment and have that, like, comfort and peace for yourself and for Letty is just so, so sweet.
Yes. So thank you very much, Crystal, for sharing that
Thank you,
and sharing
yes.
that personal piece of your life with us to be able to share with our listeners because I think it's a really great story to be able to tell and just so wholesome and heartwarming.
Mhm. That will bring us to our final kind of experience encounter. story, and kind of similar, along similar lines to Crystal. So this comes from our sister Nicole. She technically she's a stepsister, so she didn't come into our lives. She hadn't come into our lives at the time that this happened. We, never met the grandmother that this encounter involves. Um,
Mhm.
but you know, it was a very important and meaningful event for Nicole. So she told us it was a summer morning that she woke up just kind of any other day and walked into her kitchen. She was on her way to go wake up her grandma, who also lived with them. Um, just say hello, kids, ourselves included, our own kids love our grandparents. And so,
Mhm.
if they're living with you, it's exciting to, oh, I'm going to go see them. I'm going to go say hi, start my day. Um, so she's on her way through the kitchen, and before she could get to her grandma's room, our Uncle Dell lived with them at the time also, and he ended up in her grandma's room first and ended up going in to wake her. Shortly after he walked in, Dell came back to the kitchen and found Nicole and tried to coax her to go play outside for a little while. You're like,
Mhm.
just get out into the sun, go out, get out of the house for a minute. I need to talk to your mom. And so Nicole is kind of like bickering back with him, I don't want to go outside. Like, I just woke up. I want to go see grandma. I Tell me what's going on. You know,
Yeah.
it, for myself, even like that would make me nervous. That would make like, why,
Right.
what's happening? I just want to know
Why
what's
are
going on.
you shooing me away?
Yeah. Um, and so eventually, um, Laura, Nicole's mom, came out into the kitchen as well. And she shared the news with Nicole that her grandmother had actually passed in the evening. Um, so they found her in the home. And shortly after, the family begins planning her funeral. And it was at this time that they realized that the church summer camp that Nicole had signed up for, that they had already like paid for and had her spot reserved, was going to fall on the same week that they were planning to have the funeral. And so then the discussion began. Laura gave Nicole the chance to either stay home from camp, regardless of it being paid or not. This was your grandma, and if you would like to be there for her funeral, stay home.
As Nicole was telling us this story, it reminded me of just how the universe works in funny ways because it seems like Nicole's ritual was to wake up and go see her grandmother. And for whatever reason, Uncle Dell beat her there first that day,
Mm-hmm.
which thank goodness, because I can only imagine how traumatizing that would be as a young
Yeah.
child to find, your grandparent who you love and admire to not be with you anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, and as Nicole was telling us the story, I was just like, thank goodness Uncle Dell woke up and went there first.
Yeah.
Unfortunate situation all around. But that was one of the thoughts that came to my mind.
Yeah. Like the better of two, you know, two outcomes that aren't going to be good either way.
Hmm.
Um, and I believe she did say that her grandma had been sick for a while, and not that it was expected to happen immediately.
Hmm.
It wasn't like a huge surprise, but it's always going to be a system shock
Right.
losing. After Nicole finds out that her grandma has passed, the family begins planning her funeral. And it was at this time that they realized that the church summer camp that Nicole had signed up for, that they had already like paid for and had her spot
Hmm.
reserved, was going to fall on the same week that they were planning to have the funeral.
Mm.
And so then the discussion began. Laura gave Nicole the chance to either stay home from camp, regardless of it being paid or not. This was your
Yeah.
grandma, and if you would like to be there for her funeral, stay home. You'll attend the funeral. We'll do it that way. But she also didn't put any pressure on her to do that, and so told her, like, if you want to go to the camp instead, and kind of I get the sense of, like, hoping that she'll have the chance to have a bit more childhood, like, freedom
Yeah.
and fun for the summer,
Mhm.
um, to go ahead and go to the camp, not to be there in attendance for the funeral, um, and just be a kid for a bit longer.
Yeah.
So at the end of things, Nicole decided that she did want to go to camp. She went and enjoyed her time, but of course her grandma was on her mind the entire week. It, you know, Funerals aren't something that happen like way down the line, so everything's still very fresh
Mhm.
in your mind, and you're still kind of trying to figure out how you feel. Even, grief is one thing, but
Yeah.
it's complicated. Um,
Not linear.
Not at all. Um, so Nicole goes to camp. She spends her time there, and then she comes home after the week is done. And, just as kids do, she goes into her mom's room and they're talking for a bit. Um, and it was at that point, so Nicole is, I don't know if you remember, does the 4-post canopy bed.
Yes.
So Nicole is standing at the foot of the bed, and Laura was sitting kind of at the top, sitting next to her bedside table, and they're just talking. Um, and at some point, Laura turns over to just kind of get something off of the bedside table, or like she's got her back turned to the rest of the room. And at that point, Nicole notices that the red recliner that was in her grandma's room, Laura ended up moving into her own room. Um, and so it kind of like stands out to her, like that's not usually here.
Mhm.
And in that moment, as Laura has her back turned, Nicole looks and is surprised to see her grandma sitting in the recliner. As she sees her grandma sitting in the recliner, she notices she's in the same clothes that she was wearing the day before she passed. And she's actually crocheting the same blanket that she had started before she passed,
Mm.
the same blue and green yarn, just like a comfort, a familiar face,
Yeah.
and familiar activity.
Just
Um,
back in her routine.
yeah, just, I'm home.
Yeah.
And so Nicole sees her, and that's when her grandma looks back to Nicole and starts to remind her that she loves her. She tells Nicole she loves her and that she is so proud of her,
Mm.
and trying to tell Nicole that she will be okay,
Yeah.
as much as you can assure somebody in that time, but that you're going to make it through this. So as you would expect, Nicole was just extremely caught off guard, um,
Mhm.
and emotional from what was happening. And so she fell to her knees. She was shaking and she was crying and trying to make sense of what was happening. Like, I just lost my grandma, and
Right.
now,
And now I'm seeing her.
and to have like such a strong, meaningful message to be shared too. Like, I'm not just seeing her, but like
Yeah.
I'm getting this connection with her, and I didn't expect that to happen. Um, and so in an instant, as she's working through all of this and she's crying and kind of getting through the emotions,
Mhm.
um, just as quickly her grandma is gone.
Oh.
So Nicole told us, after this happened, she felt that this was her grandmother's way of telling her goodbye and giving her kind of that final moment. Um, she said, since she hadn't attended the funeral, she felt like that this was that chance for her.
Yeah.
And as shocking as it was, she felt like it was such a better way, a
Hmm.
better environment to have that in, as opposed to,
Yeah.
being young and
Us
being
at a
surrounded by
funeral.
your own grief and everybody else's grief.
Yeah.
Like, seems like she was thankful and relieved to have that like privacy in that moment.
Hmm.
And um, I would imagine it makes it like that much more meaningful to have that one-on-one with your family member.
Well, and also I can imagine Nicole was like feeling guilt, right? Like, if I don't
Yeah.
go to this camp, then I'm putting my family out of money. And if I do go to this camp, then I'm not saying goodbye to my grandmother. And it's, I don't know how the decision was made for Nicole to go to camp. And
Mhm.
I'm sure that that was an incredibly hard decision. Um, but I'm sure Nicole was feeling some sort of guilt about that one way or another. And so her grandmother recognized that and wanted to let Nicole know that it was okay and that
Yeah.
she was not upset with her. She, like, just like,
Just to
hey,
reassure.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm. And it seemed like Laura was kind of leaning towards the like, I don't want you to sit in this. I don't want you to feel like you're obligated to attend. Like, we're all going to go through this process in our
Hmm.
own way. And being at that age, it seemed like she wanted Nicole to have the chance to like make better memories for the summer. And
Yeah.
you're going to be with your family and you'll take care of each other afterwards.
Hmm.
Try to have a little like levity and um, escape from the situation when you have the opportunity.
Definitely. Yeah, I can, I agree with that. And I think, that's probably something I would want my kids to do. I would want them to go out and be a kid and not have to necessarily worry with this thing that, adults organize. And not that funerals are, something that shouldn't be organized, but it's a kid. A kid
Hmm.
doesn't, they don't necessarily understand all of the things that are happening at a funeral the way that adults do.
Yeah,
And they grieve differently, and
it,
and so.
it can almost feel to like you start to feel like you need to manage the stress and the grief of the adults around you, like whether you're
Mhm.
a kid or an adult, just you having that sense that like I need to care for these other people, and so then you have like you're just kind of suppressing what you're feeling because you feel
Yeah.
like you need to be there for somebody else. And I feel like Nicole is very much that kind of personality,
Mhm.
in a good way, in that like she is very caring and like wants to be there for her people. But as a
Yes.
child, especially, like, um, it's I feel probably that it's very good that she had the opportunity to not have to make that decision, um,
Mhm.
to be able to take care of herself and to
Yeah.
handle that in her own time. Um, and yeah, just a lot of grown up stuff happening. And so
Mhm.
I felt such a sweet moment, and it like reminded me of you, um, having the like the midnight, not midnight, but middle of the night visits with Grandma Hilda.
Mhm.
And like we were even younger, and so I feel like it was just kind of fantastical and like a little
Yeah.
more, um, just
A little less jarring, maybe.
yeah. And like we knew what was
And we
happening.
never
We didn't
saw
know what was
grandma.
happening. Yeah, we didn't see her in that way, and
Mhm.
just younger kids kind of understand it and deal with it differently.
Yeah.
And
Which is ironic because they're so sensitive to those things, to
mhm,
energies, and so yeah. But it's, I mean, it's great that it's less scary.
yeah, And I feel like it's almost easier, the younger you are, easier to just accept and not take like the biases of the world to say,
Mm-hmm.
oh, well, now I know you in this sense, and now we interact in this
Right.
level or this realm or whatever with these energies. I don't necessarily see you face to face, but you are still here and you're
Yeah.
still here. Um, and so it's just, yeah, it was very like a moment that I felt like I remember her telling me or us this
Mm-hmm.
story when we were younger, but it's been so long that like I didn't have all of the like the details
Right.
of it. And so am just very thankful that she also was willing to share that with us and to let us share that with
Yeah.
everyone listening. Um, and to have just that connection with her, to, you know, as unfortunate as it is to be able to relate to somebody on that level, um, to have that little bit
Yeah.
of a bond.
Yes. Yeah. And we also hope, we're so appreciative of Nicole and Crystal and Amy for letting us share their stories. And we hope that maybe this will serve as an icebreaker for people who are maybe a little hesitant to share their personal stories with us, because it is hard to open up. And Mariah and
Mhm.
I, we've talked about that. It's hard for us to put ourselves out here like this. So then to ask you guys to do that on a whim, that's really tough.
Yeah.
And so we hope, hearing some other brave individuals who've put themselves out there, that might be inspiration for you guys to share yours. And so you can send those to us. And, we hope to do more episodes like this where we're sharing these personal encounter stories. Um,
Mhm.
so you can send those to us at our email. You can send those on Facebook. You can, message us on any of our social media platforms.
You can find a little bit of all of it and like navigate easier too if you go to asthecrowfliespod.com. We'll have
Yes.
like links to all of the forums and all of our social media. And we're trying to add some fun bits of personality to our website now too. So
Yes.
even if you're not going to send in a story, if you're curious to check that out, we would just love to continue to build that relationship with everyone, whether we know you in real life or not. It's
Yeah.
been a fun journey so far, and I feel like I say this every time, but like I'm just so excited and looking forward to continuing that connection.
Reach out to us at asthecrowflies.pod@gmail.com with any stories you want to share.
I just squeezed a fart out of you. Good night to you too. Oh my goodness.
I leave you with this parting gift, Mom.
This farting gift.
I bid
Oh my
you a
gosh.
poo.
I hate that that's so much better.